Hello and welcome back to What's Happening to My Body. Today we are talking about a kind of tired that goes far beyond needing an early night. It's the fatigue so many women describe as I'm tired in my bones. It's not just physical tiredness, it's mental, emotional, nervous system deep. And for many women, it feels like no matter how much sleep they get, they never quite feel restored. If you've been waking up early, exhausted, pushing through the day on caffeine and willpower, or feeling like your capacity has quietly shrunk over the past years, this episode is for you.
Yeah, and this is one of the most common things that we hear from women, especially in their late 30s and 40s. Now, they'll say often, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just feel depleted all the time. And often nothing obvious has changed on the surface. Life is still busy, responsibility is still there, but the body is responding very differently than it used to. So today we want to unpack what's actually happening underneath this deep fatigue, both from a general women's health perspective and also through the lens of perimenopause. And most importantly, what genuinely helps.
Yeah, one of the most underestimated drivers of burnout in women is the invisible mental load. And this isn't just about being busy. It's the constant background processing, remembering appointments, managing schedules, thinking ahead, emotionally supporting others, holding responsibility for multiple areas of life at once. For many women, the brain never truly switches off. And over time, that constant that constant cognitive and emotional load adds up in a very real physiological way.
Absolutely. And research constantly shows that chronic psychological stress activates the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. And this is what we usually call the HPA axis. Now, this regulates our stress response. Now, when this system is activated repeatedly without enough recovery, cortisol patterns can become more dysregulated. And instead of a healthy rise in the morning and gradual decline at night, we often see a flattened or erratic cortisol rhythm. And this can show up as the classic I'm wired but tired feeling, exhausted but unable to fully rest.
And the tricky part is that many women have been functioning in this high output mode for years and sometimes for decades. So when the body finally starts to push back, it can feel confusing and even confronting. Yeah.
Absolutely. And stress doesn't just affect how you feel mentally, it actually spreads the effect throughout your whole body. So when cortisol remains elevated or dysregulated over time, it can impact thyroid function, blood sugar dysregulation, sleep quality, and also the reproductive hormone balance. Now, in perimenopause specifically, this becomes even more relevant because the body already navigates hormonal fluctuations. Now, this means that the stress buffer is often lower than it already used to be. And stress also directly affects the gut, as we know. So, when the nervous system is in a sympathetic state, which is the fight or flight mode, digestion is not prioritized. And then blood flow to the gut reduces, digestive enzymes output decreases, and motility can slow down or become very, very irregular. Now, this is one reason we often see bloating, constipation, or gut sensitivity increase during periods of a really high stress.
And this is where very women feel like their body is suddenly more reactive than it used to be. Foods that were fine before now feel heavy or uncomfortable. Energy dips feel more dramatic, and recovery from stress takes longer. It's not your body is becoming fragile, it's that it's working harder to maintain balance. And
Yes.
so, so now let's talk about some of the quietest signs that your body may be running on empty because burnout doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like waking up tired even after a full night in bed, needing caffeine just to feel functional, feeling overwhelmed by things that used to feel manageable, craving sugar or quick energy foods more often. And I can relate. I don't know about you, but this happens to me. And struggling to recover from workouts or busy week, and feeling emotionally flat, irritable, or easily overstimulated. These are not personality flaws. They are often early signals that your nervous system and energy system need more support.
Yeah, very well said. And also, from a psychological perspective, we often see that chronic stress and under recovery can contribute to poor sleep efficiency, blood sugar viability, increased systematic inflammation, and reduced resilience to both psychological
Mhm,
and emotional stress. Now, in perimenopause, especially, these signs can feel amplified because the body's margin for
mhm,
stress becomes so much narrower. Now, the good news is that supporting burnout and deep fatigue does not require a complete overhaul. Now, it's usually about small, consistent shifts that improve your nervous system safety and regular stability. One of the first and most powerful supports is adequate fueling. And when we talk about fueling, we talk about food. So, undereating, especially chronic undereating, is a major, major stressor on the body. And ensuring that regular meals with sufficient protein, carbohydrates, and overall energy availability helps stabilizing your blood sugar and reduce stress hormone output. The second is sleep protection. Now, this doesn't mean perfect sleep hygiene. It means realistic buffers. So, what that entails is consistent wind down time, reducing bright light at night, and supporting the nervous system to shift and into rest mode. Now, with this one, a lot of my clients love to do some coloring, reading, and journaling at night as well. Now, moving on to the third one is movement balance. Now, exercise is very beneficial, but excessive high intensity training without adequate recovery can compound fatigue. Now, these for many women, a combination of strength training, walking, and strategic rest days can support the body a lot better than constantly pushing for that extra intensity.
And I want to add something really important here. Support doesn't have to be complicated to be effective.
Yeah,
Sometimes the most powerful shifts look surprisingly simple. Things like actually sitting down to eat instead of eating on the run, building small pauses in during your day where your nervous system gets a break, getting morning light exposure to help regulate their circadian rhythm, or even having clearer boundaries and how much you're holding for other people. This is a huge one.
yeah.
Um, these don't sound dramatic, but physiologically, they create safety in the body, and safety is what allows energy to rebuild. And this might be the most important part of the whole conversation. So many women know they're tired, but they feel deeply guilty about resting. And again, this is something I can relate to like every single day. It's very difficult for us to say, I need to stop and rest because we have this sense of guiltiness, right?
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
there's often this internal voice that says, I should be able to handle this, or other people are doing more than me. But the rest is not a reward you earn after burnout. It's a biological requirement for regulation.
Yes, very well said. And when the body is chronically pushed without adequate recovery, stress hormones remain elevated, sleep quality declines, and also fatigue deepens. So just remember that rest is not lazy. It's one of the most physiologically supportive things you can give to your nervous system long term, especially. And especially in perimenopause, building an intentional recovery becomes protective for long term health.
If you take one thing from today's episode, let it be this: you don't have to collapse before you're allowed to slow down. Supporting your energy is not weakness, it's intelligent body care. So, guys, if today's episode made you feel seen, especially if you've been quietly running on empty, we are so glad you're here. You're not falling, your body is asking for support.
Yeah, absolutely. And in our next episode, we'll talk a little bit more about something a little bit different, but we get a lot of questions about this. So we're going to be talking about the truth behind supplements, hormone testing, and quick fixes. Make sure to follow the podcast on Spotify and also on YouTube, as well as our Instagram at NutriFit Project. You also find our own personal handles there. And if you know someone who keeps saying, I'm just so tired all the time, share this episode with them.
Thank you for being here and see you next time. Bye.